What's up guys, PDC here, and today, instead of some OU content, I'm going to be uploading a DPP OU game, tournament game, from April, which I actually never got the chance to upload. I said I would upload all my Battle Royale games, and I never did. I only uploaded the one versus Heist. So today I'm decided, since I have some free time, I'm going to upload a couple videos, I'm going to record a couple videos, and I figured, since I've been doing ORAS for basically the past however many months, I figured I would want to get my favorite metagame of all time up on the channel. Actually, I did a GSC, but this is my favorite metagame of all time, DPP OU Gen 4, the best metagame of all time, or at least the favorite of many of the best players of all time. And in my opinion, the peak of competitive Pokemon, which is a metagame. This is a metagame that I think everyone should learn to appreciate because of how just fun it is. There's variety. I think it's a great metagame. Even the sprites are cool. But we're going to go ahead and start the game off. There's no team preview, so we're just going to start off with the leads. I'm facing Ironbullet, a pretty well-respected player who's actually been around quite some time. He's going to go ahead and lead with Heatran, and I'm going to go ahead and lead with a Scarf Tyranitar. I'm going to superpower it right from turn 1. And he is going to go ahead and fire off a Will-O-Wisp, which is going to burn me. Now, I still thought that I could KO him, even at -1 and burn with Superpower, but it turns out that his Heatran, well, probably specifically EV'd, to survive this Superpower and get up rocks in return. Now, basically, although his Heatran is on Death's Door, it does still annoy me how it's alive, and it gets rocks up, and it can be used as a sacrifice later. So right from turn 1, it is pretty clear that Ironbullet, I wouldn't say he has the advantage, but I definitely would say he has an early game lead, considering he crippled my Pursuiter pretty badly, and he got rocks up, and he can always use it as a fodder. So he's going to switch in his Flygon here. I figure I could keep my Tyranitar around as well. I do not decide to sack it right out to this Flygon, as I have a pretty safe switch into it, which is my Skarmory. Now, admittedly, maybe I should have sacked my Tyranitar, since it's obvious that this Flygon is probably going to go for the U-turn, and it's probably just going to go right back out to his Heatran, which is going to threaten my Skarmory out once again, and probably force me to bring in Tyranitar or something like that. This doesn't bother me too much, as Skarmory really is not taking any heavy damage, and it's not really a danger of losing to a Scarf Flygon unless it hits me with a Fire Blast. So I decide, instead of revealing any new Pokemon, I'm just going to go straight out to my Tyranitar to tank whatever this Heatran throws at me. He's going to decide to go for a Flamethrower, and as you can tell, it's pretty obvious that Tyranitar is not going to have any late game use, or it's not going to be pursuing anything. Instead, its only real job here is just going to be able to scaring that Heatran off. So he's going to switch in his Scizor here on the Tyranitar, wanting to keep his Heatran as a fodder still, and I'm just going to decide to go for the Crunch. Now, right from the get-go, this is actually pretty good for me, as I did get him to reveal some more Pokemon on his team. And it turns out he has a Scizor, which is leftovers, meaning it's probably a bulky SD variant. I just decided to crunch here again, as, like I said, Tyranitar doesn't really do anything for me, and killing it, or letting it die, for that matter, early game really is not that big of a deal. And it'd be a waste of time in case he was SD U-turn or something, and it will give him more momentum to switch out and keep Tyranitar as a fodder at that point. So I decided to go out to my Heatran, which I'm pretty sure is going to be able to scare away his Scizor, and I'm going to go ahead and, with the Scizor scared off, use this as an opportunity to just go ahead and get a Loud Plume out there, throw something out. I do not get a burn, which really, I'd be nice if I did, but it doesn't really matter all that much, as I do have a decent enough answer to Kingdra and the like. Now, I do have Protect on this Heatran, which is useful. He's going to go for the Hydro Pump, which, although it may look dangerous now, this is a perfect time for me to reveal the little special Pokemon I have on my team, the Pokemon that I use to tank all my Water-type worries, including Specs Kingdra when it uses Hydro Pump, and Calm Mind Coon, although it actually sometimes loses those things. Quagsire, which is going to Water Absorb that Hydro Pump right away and do 0 damage to my team. Now, Quagsire is a pretty cool Pokemon. I don't see it used all that much. It has a nice little niche. It takes any water move you want. It can be an Encore Suicune, Starmie, and let's say a Grassnot. Grassnot Starmie is actually getting popularity because August used it in the World Cup game. But it's pretty good for taking on stuff like that, as it really does not give a damn. It can just heal right up from water attacks. And he's going to go ahead and switch into his Roserade here, as I decided to go ahead and switch out of my Quagsire and go into my Heatran, expecting him to switch into maybe a Grass type or something, or Scizor or the like, considering Quagsire does not run Scald, or does not have access to Scald in Gen 5. So I figured I could switch back in Heatran here pretty safely on the Grass type or the Scizor. Now, Heatran is going to be my rocker on this team, and now that the Scizor, I was kind of worried that he could be a fast Scizor or something, although I probably should have got up Rocks then. It probably was not that wise to allow him there, honestly, but I guess it was okay to get residual damage if he decided to switch in something. But I do get Rocks up anyway, so I guess it really doesn't matter at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and set up some rocks on his side of the field, which, if you guys didn't know, rocks are huge in DPP. I'm just going to say Gen 4. In Gen 4, rocks are huge. I often find that whoever has control of the rocks on the field often wins the game. And if you have the best hazard control, you keep enough pressure on your opponent with stealth rocks and stuff like that, usually you can come out on top. Now, I'm going to switch into my Starmie here, which I use as a spinner, quite obviously. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the hazards that he lays on the field. Now, looking at his team, I'm just going to do this as a lesson here, but looking at his team, he has a Heatran and a Roserade. The Roserade obviously has either T-Spikes or Spikes. And just judging from these two Pokemon and judging how he lacks a Gyarados check, it's pretty obvious that his last is Scarf Rotom here. So I Rapid Spin the first time. And now, knowing that, alright, he's probably going to either go to maybe his Roserade or his Rotom, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to just go straight for the recover and heal up my Starmie, knowing that he probably, well, he lacks Explosion, so he can't beat the Starmie. And obviously, he wouldn't beat it in the first place because he's such low health. But there's really no point in spinning a second time when it's obviously he's going to bring in his Anti-Spinner here to keep rocks in the field, as rocks are pretty key in keeping momentum and keeping residual damage and breaking down a stall team. So I go with my Quagsire here, expecting something like a Shadow Ball or T-Bolt, which honestly might have not been the smartest move. I guess I could have won Heat. Actually, it kind of depends. I decided to go Quagsire here over Heatran. I guess I could have won Heatran because I don't think Scarftran would have been that bad to have, but it would have reduced my scouting ability a bit with Protect. So I guess it really didn't matter, and Quagsire wasn't incredibly useful in the game, considering its only purpose was to guess. I guess at this point I can switch into Rotom and Kingdra. But I decided to go for the Ice Punches. He tricks me to Choice Scarf and misses the Wisp, and I get some decent enough damage, not great, but decent enough damage with an Ice Punch on Rotom, weakening it a bit. So he's going to sacrifice his Heatran, and while I thought it was looking a little bit bleak earlier in the game, now that I have Rocks and part of his team is starting to get weakened and fall, this does put me into a decent enough position where I can win the game. Especially considering he tricked away his Scarf, so now Starmie probably outspeeds and can KO the Rotom fan with Hydro Pump. Or this actually might be Bold Me. I think it is Bold Me, so it might not be able to outspeed the it's probably not going to be able to outspeed the Rotom regardless. Now, I go with the Ice Punch here. I actually forgot completely why I did that. I think that was a really stupid play by me. I think I was expecting him to U-turn out, although then again, that really didn't make much sense anyway. I guess he might... I was thinking he was going to expect me to switch into Skarmory or Heatran, because this game is a long time ago. I don't remember my exact thought process. I thought that he would either double out or U-turn to either Kingdra to get momentum, because now my Quagsire is trick and he can kill it with Draco or something like that. So I just, or, you know, I don't know. I guess I expected a double there and decide the Ice Punch, maybe get some residual damage on the Kingdra. But I just decided to go ahead and go up to my Skarmory here, which is physically defensive, so it's not going to be taking too much damage from the Brick Break, although 31% is decently annoying. This is going to force me to Roost, which means he's probably going to get up to +4, but I know that I probably am going to be able to tank it regardless, and I'm really not all that worried. Now, it turns out I'm actually faster than him, so if he used Brick Break there, then my Skarmory would be screwed, essentially, and I would have to rely on Heatran to check the, Scizor exclusively. Or actually, I had a third. Actually, my final one checked Scizor as well, but I just decided to go out to Skarmory there because my final one, if you guys can guess, takes quite a bit from Stealth Rock, and I don't want to repeatedly switch it in when rocks are still in the field for me. So I actually roamed it out to Kingdra, and this is a pretty dangerous Pokemon, as I have no way of scouting it, and if he Dracos my Quagsire, then that can be pretty annoying. Which he does, he predicts pretty well and correctly, and he manages to weaken my Quagsire with the Draco Meteor. So, with Kingdra using Draco Meteor and essentially putting Quagsire into pretty much death range, which he actually in the chat, he said it was obvious he was using Draco Meteor, I decided to just go ahead and go and Ice Punch him. There's really no point not. Honestly, I probably should have recovered there. Like, this was a badly played game on my part. I should have recovered there because I figured he would switch, and I don't know why I Ice Punched. That was dumb on my part. If I recovered, I don't know, maybe it would have been better for me to have Quagsire at higher health. But he's going to go ahead and go for the I'm going to go for the Ice Punch. He's going to go for the Scizor switch. Now, I'm just going to bring Heatran straight out in this Scizor this time. I don't think he's going to Brick Break. Instead, he just goes for the Swords Dance, and I know that my Heatran is going to be quite easily able to outspeed his Scizor. Now, the good thing is Heatran puts a lot of pressure on this guy's team. With Kingdra being pretty weak at this point and having no a source of recovery, and my Heatran having Protect the Scout, both the Kingdra and the Flygon, and the possibility of Loudplume getting a burn, I would say that I'm actually in a decent enough position here. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Loudplume, quite obviously here, as he decides to switch in his Flygon. Now, the Lava Plume, I know already, is going to do about 20-ish% of the Flygon, which is really good. And while I do not manage to get the burn, I realize I can just Protect to see if he's going to go for Earthquake or not. There's really no other reason aside to, there's no reason not to Protect here. He goes for the Earthquake, and I realize that he probably is going to switch here to keep momentum, because this is something he really needs to have now, especially considering his Heatran and his team is actually getting pretty weakened from the hazards and the ability that Heatran has to put pressure on it. But I'm going to switch out here, like a bitch, of course, and go out to Skarmory, because I didn't really need to take any unnecessary risks at that point. So, Skarmory, while it is getting weakened, I'm still not incredibly worried about it being in death range, as I realize I can probably manage to roost it up on something sometime or later. I'm just going to go out to Heatran here. So he decides to go for the Shadow Ball, predicting a Quagsire switch or the like. And Heatran really does not care all that much about Rotom. I am special defensive, so Thunderbolt is not going to be doing that much of an amount, which he does decide to go for. I was more worried about a Paralysis than anything else. And I'm just going to go ahead and Lava Plume the Rotom fan, and luckily I do get a roll which manages it to be finished off by the Sand the following turn. So Rotom is now dead, and this does mean that I can manage to get a free spin off on one of his Pokemon if I do get the chance to. So he's going to bring in his Roserade, which I was admittedly a little worried that he would Sleep Powder my Heatran with. So I just decided to go for the Protect here to see if I can get a little extra leftovers recovery on my side. He goes for the Toxic Spikes, however, they're kind of annoying for Starmie, but Quagsire is pretty much already dead, and my Skarmory, Heatran, and my last Pokemon, which I'm going to reveal, is Zapdos, don't care about it at all. So it would be much more menacing if he were Spikes if we could get residual damage on Heatran. So he sets up the 2 layers, and I'm just going to go ahead and go for the Loudplume, which is going to pretty much do a nice amount of Roserade. I'm not that afraid of what Roserade can really do to me, and Heatran is actually healing up quite a bit here. And that's something I've always wanted to say. It's amazing how much Pokemon Protect can heal on free turns in DPP, or any metagame for that matter. As Heatran is actually getting up pretty close to full from it was after the Shadow Ball plus the Thunderbolt. It's already at 70%, and Energy Ball is no way going to do an incredible amount to me, and I'll probably just heal off all the damage of leftovers anyway. So he's going to let his Roserade die, and at this point, I was from a bad position at the start. This is what I love about DPP. The game is never over. I feel that even if you're in a bad position, you can usually outplay your way to get into a good one, unlike Black and White or Oras or something like that. Matchup is not everything. Matchup is a part of the game, but it's not everything, and I feel that you can manage to outplay yourself out of if you're in a bleak or bad situation. If you play good, then you can usually manage to get out of it, or play better than your opponent for that matter. So Roserade is going to go ahead and die. And with Roserade out of the way, I guess that opens up Starmie a bit more. It's good for me, just another Mundown. And he's going to bring in his Kingdra, which is definitely going to be on its last leg. Obviously, I have no other move here than to Protect, and he's going to go for the Surf. Like I said, I obviously am going to be switching out Heatran here. He's probably going to go for something like a double the Flygon or Scizor or something of that like, but I think at this point I realize I'm in control and this game is for the most part mine, as my last one should manage to win on its own if I remember the set correctly. So he's going to go out the Flygon, as I just decided to go ahead and switch into my Quagsire here, which I really don't need anymore at this point. As Quagsire, it's nice to have around. It would be nice if I could have it for a couple of the turns. Like I said, if I recovered a few turns back, then it'd be really nice to have Quagsire around, but I didn't, so it's, dead now. But I do get the U-turn advantage and see what he decides to switch in. Kingdra is on its last leg here. He's going to go out to his Scizor, which obviously is going to be an open Heatran switch. And with Protect, I can manage to scout the move that Kingdra uses, while also getting a little extra sand damage on it. So I'm going to go out to my Heatran here, quite obviously. There's no other play I can make. I guess I could technically go, I guess, let me see, if Kingdra's at 29, I guess I technically could have went to Skarmory here, used Spike once, and then roam-winded out. But then again, that opens me up to Flygon more, so this is probably just a better move anyway. So yeah, Heatran was definitely the better move. I think it would open me up to Flygon too much if I went the other route. Or, it probably would have. I don't know. I think going Heatran here was regardless, because I don't think it would have mattered the outcome of the game that much, considering I don't need another layer to Spikes anyway. So yes, I did make the right move, and this is pretty much the game right there. With Scizor dead, even though it was Brick Break, which I was honestly a bit scared about at the first half of the game, turned out to be slower than Heatran though, so it didn't really matter. And I had a last one that beat it anyway. But that's going to be pretty much the game right there. I'm just going to go ahead and switch into Starmie here. Kingdra's dead after rocks, and that's the game. So, at the start of the game, I thought that I was going to lose. I thought that it was looking bleak and I had no chance to win. But as the game progressed and I managed to gain control, it turned out that I actually had a decent enough chance of winning. I'm just going to go for the spin here, as my last Pokemon beats the Flygon anyway. It doesn't really matter. Kingdra's going to die, get rid of the rocks, reduce as much pressure on my Pokemon as possible, go out to my Zapdos, and it turns out I believe that he's actually choice banned Zapdos. But the HP Ice is going to finish him off pretty swiftly, and that's going to be the game. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, me playing a game in my favorite tier, DPP. Yes, this is, I probably should upload more DPP in the future, but anyway, I hope you guys liked it. Please subscribe, like the video, and if you want me to do a guide on DPP and the like, then that'd be pretty awesome too, because I actually was meaning to do some videos more like educational than just me fucking around on the ladder, dubbing over my replays of me teaching people older metagames. So if you want me to, you want to see that, I'll sure as hell do it. I think that'd be actually pretty fun. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Like, subscribe, and I'm out.